Okay, so this is going to be my full review of the Google Pixel 5a, the Google Pixel 5a 5G. Let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, starting off with the design here, and just like I did say in my first impressions video, this guy is going to look very familiar to a lot of you, especially to those of you who knew or who know what the Pixel 4a 5G looks like. This is it's just like that, except this one is slightly taller in this mostly black, they call it, which is a mix of kind of a dark green and I guess black. But other than that, it looks very, very good. It feels very solid build, just like the Pixel 4a, except this time you have metal as opposed to plastic like we did with the Pixel 4a. You have that same signature look on the camera along with the other physical features that we have here. We have the fingerprint sensor on the back. Easily, see, so easy to reach, and it unlocks the phone so quickly. You have, of course, your volume rocker, the power button. You have a headphone jack. This is always a good thing to have on the phone. You don't have a micro SD card slot to expand the internal storage, and that was the case with the previous one also. Here you only have a slot for your SIM card at the bottom. You have speakers and a USB Type-C port, and I have to add that those speakers, they get loud. They are surprisingly loud. And I'm saying that in a positive way, of course. You do get a 6.34 inches Full HD Plus OLED display here. It is beautiful. And the resolution here is 2400 by 1080. So as you can see here, pretty similar to the same specs we had on the 4a 5G. The screen looks beautiful. It's an OLED display, right? So what do you expect? It looks beautiful whether you're watching a movie or just playing a game. And the PPI is 415. The refresh rate, of course, is locked at 60 hertz, except it looks really, really smooth with that stock Android. You have stock Android, and of course this is loaded with Android 11, so it's very, very smooth when navigating through your day-to-day task or just scrolling. Generally, the difference between 60 or 90 or 120 on phones is not going to be that obvious. Now, you do have some people who will be able to detect that as soon as they look at it, but generally speaking, it looks just nice when you're scrolling and you're navigating through your phone. In terms of the platform itself, so the internals, you have a Snapdragon 765G loaded on here. So pretty powerful stuff, still in the mid-range category, but it does perform very well. And that is coupled with 6 gigs of RAM along with 128 gigs of internal storage, which, as I mentioned not too long ago, is non-expandable. So when you get that at 128, that's pretty much all you get. So with those specs, as you can imagine, performance has been fantastic here. I haven't encountered any type of stutter or crashes or, any type of freezes. So whether you're playing a game or watching movies or just, checking your emails, navigating the internet, just doing anything you'll be doing with your phone or even more with heavy tasks, it still powers through stuff pretty well. And by the way, if this is your first time visiting, well, welcome to the channel, of course, or welcome to the family. I'm certainly hoping that you are enjoying the content so far, and if you are, I truly appreciate that. Please do me a huge favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button there. It's a tremendous boost to this channel, and that's the best way to tell the YouTube algo that people actually enjoy this type of video. Again, I truly appreciate that. All right, so I actually want to go back quickly on the camera, because you may have seen on social media and maybe on other platforms that some people are experiencing some issues with the camera. Now, at first, I live in kind of a rural area, tons of trees here, so it doesn't get particularly hot in my area. Now, I knew that some people were experiencing some issues with the camera overheating. I wasn't experiencing that until not too long ago, right before, the Hurricane Ida, when I started getting my warning. I just figured it was a little bit too sensitive compared to my secondary phone, because I generally carry 2 phones, because I kept getting these random heat warning messages or pop-ups. A lot of people were experiencing this when trying to record, 4K at 60. Now, I don't do a lot of that, but when I try to do that also, I will get those warnings. Now, I do know that this is an issue that Google is aware of, and they are working on it right now. So it's more of a software situation that they'll be doing a quick fix or to send out an update so that we can get rid of that little issue. So bugs like that, of course, we do see that they happen all the time. So it's always good when they jump on it and try to fix it. If we're talking just about the camera itself, it is a 12.2 megapixel camera. That's the same camera that we had on the previous one. It takes fantastic pictures, and that is coupled with a 16 megapixel ultra wide. And again, like I always say, when it comes down to pixels, when it comes down to camera, pixels are you know, pretty much just the top out there when it comes down to pictures specifically, right? That Google post-processing is just on another level, just amazing picture quality, super sharp, of course, very, very nice dynamic range. So nothing really new there. Now, I want to talk about the best thing about this phone, in my humble opinion, is going to be the battery. This guy is loaded with a 4,680 milliamp. That is a gigantic battery to put on a phone, especially on a budget phone, right? You would find larger batteries on, you know, those flagship phones, but Google squeezed in 4,680 milliamp in here, and that thing definitely is a 2-day phone. This is definitely a 2-day phone. So it's really, really hard to kill this phone. It just won't die. It will not die. Very good battery. So if you're looking for something that will last you a while, this is that phone. And it's kind of the perfect package because it's such a solid phone, very nice and very modern, and at the same time very minimalistic design here with so much to offer. Again, as I mentioned, you have that little issue with the camera, but Google is working on that. So besides that, my experience so far has been great with it. You know, I kind of swapped back and forth between my number one or my main SIM card and my secondary SIM card. As I mentioned, I have two phones. I generally carry two phones. I usually swap back and forth between both this one or the flip phone or my iPhone, and I have no issues using this guy here. It is a very, very good phone. So if you're currently in the market for something in this price range, so the $450 or $500, make sure to consider this phone. Also, as you're comparing with other phones before you make your decision. It has a ton of things to offer, and I've had no complaints when it came to just performance of the phone. So beyond that camera issues, which by the way seems to happen when you're trying to shoot 4K at 60 frames per second, beyond that, this is a perfect phone. And again, you have to keep in mind that that is a temporary issue because they will fix it just by doing a quick software update, which also means that if you're not shooting 4K at 60 frames per second, which is pretty, you know, heavy for a lot of people out there. But, you know, of course, this is not an excuse. A lot of people do shoot, you know, 4K at 60 frames per second, but a lot of people also don't. So if you are not going to be shooting at 4K 60 frames per second and you happen to have this phone, you probably haven't even noticed it. And in fact, there are people who, you know, shot 4K at 60 frames but didn't notice. I personally didn't notice it at first, as I mentioned, because, you know, I'm in a rural area. It's generally pretty, you know, the temperature here doesn't really get up there, but when the temperature went up a little bit, I started getting these warnings. But if you're just shooting normal mode like most people do, you probably haven't encountered this. Or if you don't have this phone and you were to buy this phone and you were to just shoot it regular mode, you will not encounter this issue. Again, I can't say it enough. The hope is that they fix it, which they are working on, which is a good thing. So that also means that I will be coming to you with another full review of that after they fix the issue. But anyway, let me know in the comment section what you think of this phone, if you've gotten a chance to play with it, or what you think of the issue. It'll be interesting to get your take. I'm going to catch you in the comment section like I always do. I'm also going to catch you in the next video, of course. And as always, up until that next video, stay safe out there.